So today we're going to be talking about exterior angles. Now, I already have some words on here because this is actually my second time to try to record this. But when I'm talking about exterior angles, this is going to be angles that are on the outside of the triangle. We know the word exterior means outside. So this is going to be something that's formed by a triangle and the angle that is adjacent or next to the triangle. So for instance, right here, angle 4 would be considered my exterior angle because it is on the outside or the exterior of my triangle. Next, we always have remote interior angles when it comes to our exterior angles. So the remote interior angles are going to be the two angles on the inside that are not right next to the exterior angle. So for instance, if I'm looking at the triangle here, in the picture above, angle 4 is the exterior angle, which we already talked about, and the ones that are furthest away from that would be our remote interior angles. So angle 1 and angle 2 are going to be our remote interior angles. If you think about the word remote, if you say like, oh, they live in a remote area or a remote jungle, it means it's kind of far away. There's not really a lot of things around it. Therefore, like I know angle 3 cannot be a remote interior angle to angle 4 because it's too close to it. It's right next to it. So I have to go with the ones that are further away. So 1 and 2 would be considered remote interior angles to the angle 4, which is an exterior angle. All right, so let's look and see how we apply this now when we're trying to find out our exterior angles and our remote interior angles. So here we see that we have a triangle. It is labeled A, B, C, and I have some angles out here, 1, 2, and 3. Those are going to be my exterior angles. They're on the outside of my triangle. And I'm also given some measurements on the inside of my triangle. So angle A is 50 degrees, B is 70 degrees, and C is 60 degrees. So if it asks me, I need to find the sum of angles A and B. So A plus B, that's going to be 50 plus 70, which is 120 degrees. So it's saying, like, where else might you see this measurement? Well, before we can really figure that out, we need to know what are these other measurements of the angles. So let's think about this. If I know the inside angle, remember any straight angle adds up to 180 degrees, meaning a straight line would equal 180 degrees. Therefore, if angle A is 50 degrees, then angle 1 must be 130 degrees because these two would need to add up to 180. Up here, if this is 70 degrees, then 70 plus angle 2 need to equal 180. So 180 minus 70 is going to give me 110 degrees. And then lastly, down here, I know I could turn my paper. I see it's a line right here, but I need to figure out, if I know 60, then what is angle 3 because it's creating that line. Well, 180 minus 60 is 120 degrees. So now I'm seeing that's where else I see this measurement. It's right here, angle 3. So when I add A and B, I get that exterior angle. What about if I find the sum of B and C? Angle B plus C, that's going to be 70 plus 60. That equals 130. I see that right over here, opposite of these two. Lastly, A and C, that's going to be 50 plus 60, and I get 110. Well, I see 110 right up here, opposite of A and C. So what this tells me is that any exterior angle is going to be equal to the sum, meaning I add it, of its two remote interior angles. So if I look at this, angle 1, it's going to be adding those two remote interior angles together, and that's going to be the same answer. 70 plus 60 would give me the 130. Over here, angle 2, the two remote interior angles are A and C. That's going to be 50 plus 60, which gives me 110. So any exterior angle is equal to the sum, adding together, of its remote interior angles. So let's look at number 2. I'm sorry, not x, number 2. I need to find the value of x and explain how I'm doing that. Well, I know that this is obviously an exterior angle. It's on the outside of my triangle, and I can clearly see that these are going to be the remote interior angles. They are the two angles of the triangle that are furthest away from my exterior angle. So in this case, what it would be is if I added these two together, it would equal 115. So that's saying x plus 54 is equal to 115. Now you can set this up as an equation just like I just did and solve. We know the best way to do this is just to move that 54 to the other side, and I would solve for x. It's the same as saying 115 minus 54, and in that case I would get 61. Therefore, x would equal 61 degrees. It is the sum of your two remote interior angles will equal your exterior angle. So let's look at number 3. I need to find the value of x and see how I'm doing that. Well, remember, our exterior angle is just our remote interiors added together. So in this case, x would simply equal 50 plus 66. 50 plus 66 gives me 116 degrees. So my exterior angle here would be 116 degrees. All right, let's flip our papers over. So now we're looking at how can we find the measurement of angle KMU. So we're trying to find what is the measurement of this angle right here. I'm just going to call it X because it's the one that's missing. Now we know that anytime we have a box in an angle, that means that is a 90-degree angle. So we know this one is 90. I have one measuring at 50, and these are obviously the remote interior angles to this exterior angle. So I know that x is going to equal just adding these two together. So 90 plus 50, x is going to equal 140 degrees. All right, so what I'd like you to do is work on the next one. In this case, we're given the exterior angle, and we're trying to figure out what is the measurement of BDC. So we're looking for this one right here. I'm just going to put the X because that's what we're looking for. And I see I have an exterior. These are the two remote interior angles, which means these added together must equal this. Okay, so it's a simple subtraction problem at this point. It's just taking this 120 and subtracting that 60. It's the same as saying X plus 60 must equal 120. Now, if I needed to solve this, it's a one-step equation at this point. We're just subtracting 60, and that leaves me with x equals 60. So we have our answer there. So what I want you to do is go ahead and work the next 3 problems. You're going to need to pause, and I do expect you to pause for at least 2 to 5 minutes to work these problems and figure them out. One thing you're going to notice on problem number 4, we've got a lot more stuff here. So actually go ahead and work number 3, pause and work number 3, and then when you come back, we'll work number 4 together. So I ended up on number 3 getting 143 degrees because these are just the remote interior, inside angles to this exterior angle. All right, let's look at number 4 together. So this one has a lot more involved. We've got more x's, kind of thinking back to what we did before the Thanksgiving break when we were working on those solving equations with transversals and how we would set that up. So remember, I know that my exterior angle has to equal the sum of my 2 interior angles. So what it means is angle A plus angle B must equal this exterior angle, so 123 degrees. And I'm going ahead and just write that 123 there. Now I know angle A is 2x plus 8, and I am adding that to what I know angle B is, which is 3x plus 5. And all of that is now equal to 123 degrees. Now, if you recall, I like to highlight what I can go ahead and combine. It's called that combining like terms. So if I combine my x's, in this case, I have 2x plus 3x, that's going to give me 5x. And if I combine my constants, so plus 8 and plus 5, or just 8 plus 5, that gives me 13. So plus 13, all equal to 123. At this point, it is back to that simple two-step equation. I need to get that 13 moved away because I need to solve for x. So if it's plus 13, I'm going to minus 13. That'll give me 5x equals 1, I'm drawing a blank, 110. And then my last step would simply be to divide. I need to divide by 5. And that's going to give me that x equals 22. So now I know the value of x, which means at this time I could also figure out what the measurements of A and B are. If I put 22 back in place of x, I could easily figure out what is the measurement of this angle. 2 times 22 is 44 plus 8. Therefore, this would be 52 degrees. And then I could check and see, well, if I add this and this, 52 and whatever, does it equal 123? That's how you would check your work on one of these. All right, this last problem, we are going to find the measurement of angle CVU. So in this case, we are looking for the measurement of 3x. All right, so I know this has to be equal to the sum of u and t. So 3x must be equal to u plus t. So let's think about how we could set that up. Well, I know this is 3x equals, my u was 63, and my t is x plus 13. Okay, I can do this. I can do hard things. Mainly, my first step is to combine some like terms. Now, I don't have any x's on both sides to combine, but I do see that I have some constants that I could add together. I have 63 and 13, so that's going to leave me with 3x equals x plus 76. Then I need to just get my x's all on that left side. So remember, anytime you have an x by itself, we can consider that to be 1x. So in this case, it's positive 1x, so I'm going to subtract 1x. And that's going to leave me with 2x equals 76. And my last step here is to divide. 76 divided by 2. That's going to give us 38. X equals 38. So now that is not the final one, because remember, they're asking us here, what is the measurement of this angle? I know it's 3x, so if x is 38, then angle CVU must be 3 times that x, which is 38. So the measurement of angle CVU equals 38 times 3, which is 114. So we know that measurement CVU is 114 degrees for that angle. So that's how we talk about exterior angles and the two remote interior angles of those and how we figure them out. So remember, the key thing here is on our front of our page, and that is that we have to remember any exterior angle will be equal to the sum of its two remote interior angles.